A lot of online course creators absolutely hate launches. And I do understand because I've done it for quite some time and it actually requires a huge amount of your energy. But let us not also forget that launches actually bring in a large influx of money, and it's up to you if you're going to trade your energy for cash or make the mistake that a lot of online course creators make, which is to automate their online course system prematurely. And we're going to talk about how that becomes premature, what are the requirements that I ask my students and my clients to do before they actually automate the course, etc., etc. And so if you are a person with an online course, you've already launched it once or twice in the world and would like to figure out what would be like the most sustainable, less hypey way of doing it, well, this video is for you. I'm so glad you're here, and without further ado, let us dive right in. Hey there, my name is Zemi Bernice. I am a marketing expert for online courses, and I have 9 courses myself, 7,000 students served, and 100 course creators like you are jumping into my videos and asking me, what the heck am I supposed to do in this world of information surplus? Well, you have come to the right place. A few months ago, I actually created this personality test for online course creators that I call the e-creator archetypes test. Now, in this very quiz, you get to identify what archetype you are, which stage you are in the online course creator journey, and at the same time, be able to diagnose what problems you would actually have if you are in that very archetype or stage. Now, in the past 2 videos, I talked about the Ember archetype, which is stage 1, and then the Igniter archetype, which is stage 2. Now, if you are a person who has already launched their course out there to the world, and right now you are just thinking about,
okay, like I have a feast and famine cycle when it comes to launches. I don't want to do launches anymore,
etc., all that kind of stuff, well, you are in the right place. We're going to be talking about the archetype that I call the Rainmaker. So if you want to solidify what archetype you are, you can click the link below this video and take the quiz. It's only less than 2 minutes. It only has 3 to 4 questions that will help you identify what archetype you are. I made that very easy and simple so that you wouldn't like trot around the globe before you even get your results. I made it super easy. And then you come back to this video if you have gotten the Rainmaker archetype. If not, or if you want to do that later, that's okay as well. I would like to talk about the archetype first and foremost, and then we're going to talk about the problems, the solutions, etc., etc., and maybe some stories here and there of the clients and students that I've gotten over the years that are Rainmakers that you might get a lot of lessons from. So if you are a Rainmaker, you're in the growth and system building stage. Your course is validated, and now it's time to turn it into a predictable, scalable business because you have already validated that it actually sells. You have sold it before. Congratulations, you are not stuck. So if you're thinking that you're stuck, no, you're not. You just really need systems in place in order to make sure that this thing is going to go and scale to the moon. So you already know your offer sells. The focus now is on creating consistency. That means refining your launch rhythm, strengthening your marketing assets, and building systems that generate leads and sales, even when you're not actively promoting. So as a Rainmaker, you have 3 goals. Goal number 1, create a repeatable, sustainable launch schedule. Goal number 2, grow and nurture your audience between launches, which is a lot of people don't do. And then the 3rd one, build automated marketing assets and that keep sales coming in. Now, let's do a very quick talk. I've seen a lot of Rainmakers or people that are currently in this very archetype. What they usually do is they launch once or twice, they give up, and they just automatically stop regardless of how much money they made in the first 2 launches. And they're like,
okay, I'm not going to launch anymore because this is tiring. I'm going to think about how I can automate things.
Which is, I would say, not correct. Or I would say that I'm going to stop you right there and tell you that why are you stopping something that's currently working? If you had a really huge cash influx on your first 2 launches, why would you stop there? Okay? Like there was 2 years that I just launched every after month. Like every 2 months I would launch. And it got easier the more I did it because then I already had systems in place that I can just whip and put it out there to the world when I do my launches. Now, let's talk about the mistakes that people make, aside from, of course, the fact that they want to automate right away. In the eCreator Archetypes test, there are 4 different archetypes that mirror 4 different stages. And you're currently a Rainmaker. There's the last one, which is the Oracle, and it's basically the end-all be-all. I'm not going to say that oracles don't have their own problems, but it's basically the tip of the iceberg, or I would say like the summit that people or online course creators would want to get to. And that is being able to automate their online course, right? Wherein leads come in and then they get sales every single day. And that's also what my goal is for you as an online course creator, because although yes, it's very hard to just continuously launch, and I recommend people to continue doing it if it's currently working, eventually you want to be able to create systems so that you can start focusing on teaching, which in a lot of cases is probably the reason why you are here creating online courses, because you would love to teach. You like to talk to your people, communicate with them, connect with them in a deeper level, and at the same time, just be in there, make sure that you are guiding them every step of the way, which is great. Now, I could easily say that once you have already started selling your course in your first one or in your first or second launch, you can already start automating it. Well, as much as I would like to say that it's a lot easier when you are automating a course, it's actually hard. I've done it multiple times. I had a lot of success when it comes to launches. And so in my head, I've done it for the past for straight 2 years. There's no point of me continuously launching, right? I want to make time for my students. I want to make time on other projects. It just makes sense for me now to be able to launch, because then I have figured out 3 things already. Number 1, a very successful lead-in. Now, what is a lead-in? It's the activity that you put out there to the world. It's a public thing that you put up, like an opening salvo before you actually launch your course, or you use it so that in the end of that very opening salvo or that lead-in, you are able to pitch your product or your course. Now, it takes a while for you to understand and learn that lead-in actually works for you. Example, like webinar challenges, giveaways, boot camps, live workshops, etc. It would take a while because you would have to launch multiple times and test that very lead-in if it does indeed bring large cash influxes every single time that you do it, right? And so you would have to continuously launch in order to see if that is indeed the lead-in that works for you. And there are so many lead-ins that you would have to test, and it will take, I would say, 6 months to 8 months or even a year. And I would even say do it for straight a year to see which lead-in really works for you. You have to be able to dial that down. Now, what I did in my experience, for example, is that I did a webinar 9 times, the same webinar 9 times, and to be able to tweak and test different types of headlines, swap different slides that didn't work, see where people are dropping down, which part of the presentation is boring, that people are leaving, and change my pitch to a point where it actually makes sense for people. It's something that people would like to hear rather than leave or exit out of. So I did that 9 times, and I was able to find that people enjoy, right? Because you want to be able to sell at the same time, people enjoying that very lead-in activity. Okay, so webinar worked really well for me. I'm not sure if it's going to work for you. That's why you have to test. Maybe your energy or your personality or the way you are as a person, the way you interact with your audience challengers work really well for you. Like you would have to meet them certain times in a week, for example, in order to get them to achieve something, right? You might also want to do a giveaway. Maybe games would be a lot easier for you because you have this game master history. So those are different types of lead-ins that you can test and, of course, double check whether that works for you and for your audience. And once that is done, then you can start tweaking different parts of that very lead-in to ensure that your conversion is great. Okay? Because there are people that are falling off that very presentation. Maybe it's too long. Maybe you need to shorten it. Maybe there are slides or stories that you have mentioned in that very lead-in that just doesn't impact people. So you would want to be very observant. And I'm not saying that you need to do a lead-in 9 times or 10 times to be able to figure it out. I just chose to do it 9 times because I wanted to see which parts of it is actually working and what's not. And then here's what I found. For example, I found that my energy when I'm delivering the presentation actually matters. So there was a point where I did a webinar and it was so like hyped up and I was like very high energy and like people love it. Like they were commenting or putting down comments in the video and saying like, love the energy, love the vibe. And at the end of it all, I actually had a really successful launch because people love that energy. They stayed till the end. And there was also a time in my webinar where, I don't know, maybe I've done it way too many times. I think it was probably the 8th or the 9th webinar where my energy was just already low and I'm like, oh, this is tiring to repeat the same webinar over and over again for 9 times. And so my energy wasn't really that high. I was just like maybe talking like this, normal. And people did not like it. They left very early. And at the same time, I also didn't have a lot of, a lot of sales at the end of it. And so those are some of the important things that I noticed. And then second thing is that it was way too long. Like webinars are only supposed to be like 90 minutes long. Mine was 1 hour and 45 minutes. And so it was like way longer than it should. I had to cut down some parts of it to make sure that I actually delivered to the best of my ability. Those are some of the things that you would want to figure out and find out and fine tune, right? Before you start automating things, because automation is a lot harder. You know how to make people tick, how to make people react, right? And at the same time, if you're already good at one-to-many selling, which at that time when I was doing like 9 webinars for the next year, I became more attuned to it. The next drop off or the next leak that I found in my sales system was that my ads were bad. And so even though I became very attuned with the selling, my ads were horrible. Not a lot of people are signing up. Only get a lot of like lurkers, or people don't really attend to the webinar because my ads were not that good. And so I had to edit that again. Like there are more aspects in automating that you need to make sure that you fine tune compared to like having launches. Right? So yes, while launches are very high energy and it's not for everyone. Well, number one, it brings you a huge influx of cash at one day. Secondly, there are only 3 things that you need to do. Yes, you are going to be repeating it over and over again, but there are only a couple of things that you want to consider or like put it as your top priority while you're doing launches, compared to like automating the whole system. So my top 3 priority, number 1 is a lead in, like I mentioned earlier. The second one is having a solid lead generation system. Now, once you are able to solidify a lead generation system that works for you, it's going to be a lot easier for you to transform everything or all your core system into an automated one, because you already know what works. Now, if you don't even have a lead generation system every after launch, girl, it's gonna be hard, right? you don't know what ticks, you're gonna have to be making like multiple different sorts of lead magnets in order to make people tick, in order to make people sign up, which is like, huh? That's the second one. So first, have a really good lead in that people react to and engage with. Second, a solid lead generation system. And then the third one, an alternate lead in. So what I've noticed is that, of course, your people are going to be like sick and tired of watching you doing the same lead in over and over again, right? So by my 9th webinar, people were like, okay, it's make money through funnels workshop again. We already know what that is. And so they don't sign up anymore. They probably tell some of their people that,
oh yeah, I know what that is. It didn't really impact me
whatsoever. Words spread fast, right? And so you want to have an alternate lead in that you can put out there when you sense that people are starting to get bored, right? So that you would have like different or variety of things, variety of activities that you can do when you are launching. So I have 2. Mine would be like a webinar, and then the second one would be a video training series that I have already pre-recorded, and then I put it as a live, like it's a live premiere, right? That you can do that with YouTube, you can do that with Ecamm Live. Those are some of the things that I do. And the second lead-in is actually something that I like to do, because if I have a shorter amount of time, like instead of being able to prepare for the launch for the next like 30 days, I only have, let's say, 15 days to be able to prepare for the next launch, then I would do the second lead-in, because it's a lot easier. I can just batch record videos, record them, edit them very simply, just jump cuts, and then upload that in whatever platform I am using. Put that as a premiere, for example, here on YouTube, right? Put that as a premiere, and then that's it. Like, that's my lead-in. And then at the end, if I would do like 3 videos, at the 3rd video, then I can start promoting the course that I have. Okay? So that's my second lead-in, when I have like very small amount of time to be able to prepare. So that's what I do. Now, one of the problems of a Rainmaker is that they have this thing that what we call audience fatigue, wherein they don't have a solid lead generation system every after launch, that they are launched to the same audience over and over again. This is why I tell you to have an alternate lead-in, so that people would want to join and be pitched again if they want to, because they're being curious about what the second lead-in is. But at the same time, if you have a solid lead generation system every after launch, that would mean that you invite new people into your circle, into your community, that you can then pitch once you do your launch. Okay? There are different timelines for this, which we're going to talk about in the next video. But I'm giving you an overview of what that looks like, because I don't want you to start automating your online course system right away if you don't have those 3 things intact just yet, because I think that's too early. Imagine if you're going to be automating without those 3 things, which is very essential. It's going to take longer for you to actually make money in automation, right? Now, if you are studying and testing what lead-ins work, what lead generation system actually works for you and your audience while you're making money off of it, I mean, I would choose the latter. Like, if I am testing things like what lead-in works best and what lead generation systems would be best for me and my audience, what engages them the most, and then I get paid with that at the same time because I am doing launches, I would rather choose that before I even automate the whole thing. So that's a usual Rainmaker problem. Now, I do understand that you're thinking in your head,
hey, I'm an introvert. It's a lot of work for me. It's like not something that I would want to do.
And to be honest with you, I don't know. I may look like an extrovert, but I'm a really huge introvert. And I'm just extroverting right now because I'm recording a video. That doesn't make any sense for me to become an introvert in front of a camera. But I tell you, I absolutely hate launches too. I don't like it. There are times when it's like 30 minutes before showtime and I'm like, what the I don't even want to do this anymore. But at the same time, I get happy once I finish the lead-in because I know that I'm going to receive a lot of money. Like, you get compensated fairly, right? After every single launch, just as long as, of course, you do your work well and you have a solid lead generation system in place, then every single time that you're going to launch, you really are going to break the bank. I tell you, right? Just have those things in mind. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I've launched, like, let's say 15 times now. Like, you could literally say to yourself, I've been doing it way too many times to be able to continue launching. Then you are now an oracle. You would want to make sure that you have an automated system, as long as, of course, you know what lead-in works for you. You have a second lead-in option, and at the same time, you have a solid lead generation system. As long as you have those three things, and you can, of course, proceed to the next archetype, which is the oracle, which is going to make your life easier. But it's not going to make your life easier if you don't have those three things in check. Okay? So this is that video warning you not to skip this very important archetype, which is the Rainmaker. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Leave comments below this video if you have any questions or clarifications. I'll make sure I'll get back to them as soon as possible. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.